What's up guys, it's Jamey. Welcome back. I hope your new year is off to a great start. In today's video, what we're going to do is take a look at my iPhone 12 Pro and see how it's holding up after about 2 months of use. So I have the iPhone 12 Pro in silver. I also have a iPhone 12 Pro Max in the Pacific blue color. So what we're going to do is take a look at both of them today and see how they're holding up with some scratches, my thoughts on the phone as a whole. I also have the leather cases in Baltic blue and saddle brown, so you can see how that patina is coming into play after just a couple months of use. I wanted to do this video because I've had a lot of people asking questions about micro scratches showing up on the bezel of the phone, and just curious how the phone is holding up after use. And I think that you're probably going to see more on the silver phone versus like the Pacific blue. So I thought it'd be a good idea to just show a side-by-side comparison of the two different colors and how it's holding up after 2 months of use. As always, when you're watching the video, if you could just give it a quick like. And if you're new here and you're interested in seeing more content like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. So the first thing I want to touch on isn't about like the physical shape of the phone itself. It's actually an issue that I've been dealing with ever since I first got it. So what I noticed initially after just first using the phone is that whenever I was in some place where I didn't have service, like a parking garage that it was down low or coming out of an elevator, once I got out of the elevator or came out of the parking garage, my phone wouldn't reconnect to cellular service or reconnect to 5G. So for instance, coming out of an elevator and getting into my apartment, I'd connect to Wi-Fi, but cellular service would not be reconnected. So in order to kind of force it into reconnecting, I would have to go into airplane mode for like 2 seconds, come out of airplane mode, and then it would recycle and connect accordingly. I've worked through Verizon on trying to fix the problem. They tried to do a couple of things on their end. They even ended up going and sending me out a brand new 5G SIM card, and nothing has changed. So this must just be something with Verizon's 5G network. I don't know if other people are experiencing it in their area or with their provider, but this has been an ongoing thing. I've also talked to other people that have Verizon, that have 5G available, and it's something that it's an issue that they've been dealing with as well. So that's one thing to note. Outside of that issue itself, the phone has been perfect. Like, I'm very happy with it. I think that when I look at going with the just regular 12 Pro in the silver color versus the Max, I'm very happy with my decision. I am also very happy with the silver. I've continued to compare it to other colors. Like I said, I do have the Pacific blue 12 Pro Max as well. I still prefer the silver over all of the colors. Now, with that being said, I do not think you can go wrong with any of them. It's all personal preference. So as I had mentioned in like one of my first videos where I unboxed my 12 Pro in silver, I had initially had the 11 Pro in that midnight green special color. And so because coming from that, I wanted to go more back to classic Apple roots, and that's why I decided to go with the silver color. And I really do like, a lot of people, I can see if they go, if it's not something they're interested in, but I like the shiny, flashy sides of the silver as well as the gold. I think that in the Pacific blue, it's a little muted, as well as in the graphite color. It's just personal preference. Just to say that still 2 months later, I'm very happy with the fact that I decided to go with the silver color in the 12 Pro. So the big thing that I want to talk about is just the presence of any micro scratches or scratches mainly on the bezel with the stainless steel on the silver. Now, this is something that a lot of people have asked me about. They've been curious about how it's held up over time. And to be honest with you, I don't see anything. But just for a reference point, I have my phone in the Apple leather case, I would say anywhere from 80 to 85% of the time. I do pop it out of the case and go caseless every so often. And even with that being said, I don't see much in terms of micro scratches. Like, there's a little bit on the bottom, and I'll show that in a video, but there's a little bit on the bottom by the lightning connector port. But you really have to look hard to see this. This is not anything that I would really cause a big issue on. If you compare this to even like high-end Rolex watches, they have stainless steel, their stainless steel watches will have polished center links that are stainless steel, and you'll get micro scratches on those as well. The thing is that I think it's when you get that initial scratch, it really messes with you for a little bit, but once you start seeing a few of them out there, it really starts to not really bother you at all. With that being said, they are so minor and so minimal that you really have to look at it in a certain lighting and get really close to notice those scratches. So I don't find it to be a big deal at all. So when I compare this to the Pacific Blue color and the scratches on the bezel for looking at this colorway, it's the same. The only difference is that they're not as evident. Obviously, with the sides being a little bit more muted and having them be painted so they're not as bright and as, you know, a stainless steel, no finish, just highly polished edges, they're not going to be as evident. They are still there, you just have to look a little bit harder for them. So when I'm looking at both of these, and if something like micro scratches does bother you, then I would probably stay away from the silver color. But realistically, they're so minimal, and I'll show this on camera, they're so minimal to me that it's not a deterrent. I don't see it as a bad thing at all. It's something that's going to happen. It's just that you're going to see them a lot more on the silver than you would on any of the other colors. Now granted, when I look at the sides of the silver, there really isn't anything. It's really just on the bottom portion around the charging point. Even looking at the buttons on the side, I'm not seeing anything on the power button. I'm not really seeing much around the silent wake button. So it's just those areas you're going to be interacting with a lot more. It'd be interesting to know if someone, I don't use a wireless charger, so it'd be interesting to see if someone that uses a wireless charger, if there's just nothing there at all. I would assume there'd be less scratches because they're not going to be interacting with the phone in that fashion. So another quick thing to touch on is just the status and the patina of the leather cases. So here I have the Baltic Blue for the 12 Pro, and then this is a 12 Pro Max in the saddle brown color. Looking at the Baltic Blue, there really is it's softened up over time, but in terms of like patina, it's just very, very subtle. The one issue that I have with like these colors is that when this patinas, there aren't like certain areas. I think because it's a little bit darker, what's going to happen is the entire aspect, for the most part, is just going to get darker. And I would like to see like more wear in different areas to have just different variations of patina around the phone, but that just hasn't been my experience. In comparison, it's similar to like this is the green case for the 11 Pro, and I anticipate the exact same thing to happen in the Baltic Blue that happened here, where it just became a darker shade of green. In comparison, when looking at the saddle brown case, you can see on the edges a little bit more that it starts wearing, and you have a little bit more of a darker patina. I'm more curious to see how this is going to patina over time. I'd also be curious about like the California Poppy, if people are seeing that patina nicely as well. But I think long term, this is probably going to have a better overall look than something like the Baltic Blue, which is just going to go from a lighter colored Baltic Blue to a darker color. So that's all I was going to cover with you guys today. I just want to do a quick update on the status of the scratches and my thoughts on the Silver 12 Pro and the Pacific Blue 12 Pro Max. If you guys have any questions or anything else you want me to touch on, please comment below. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next video.